just like Captain America, I absolutely blew up my chest from this little skinny ironing board, and I did that not by taking super soldier serum, but by doing these specific exercises that I'll be going through today. I'll literally give you a step-by-step breakdown. As you can see right here, I'll say exactly what machine to use, how to use it, go through like step-by-step detail on how to do it. And I'll be breaking down the chest into 3 parts: upper chest, middle chest, if you kind of believe in that, and lower chest. And I'll go through each exercise. So for upper chest, I'll do these exercises, and so on and so forth, until you know the exact formula to go from this little skinny ironing board, as I said, to Mr. Captain America. So to begin with, we will start with the upper chest. And this consists of 2 different movements. You can do whichever you want. The beauty of these exercises is that you can choose. So you can choose one from this list, you can choose one from this list, etc, etc. So you don't have to do both, you can do whichever one you want. So I tend to do this one the most. This is incline dumbbell bench press. So to begin with, what you want to do is get the bench on this incline. It is a 30-degree incline, and then the bottom of the bench you want to have 1 degree up, as in one, you know, when you like change the angle of it, you want to do it once, so it's like a little bit up, so it's kind of like this downwards L shaped, if it's like an L on either side, but almost like that. And then you want to grab the dumbbells as usual, place them on the top of your knees like this, and you want to get into position. And when you go down, when you go to put the dumbbells up, you want to thrust up with your knees. So I see a lot of people, they're just like sitting in this position here, they're just sitting like this, and then they literally just with their hands, they just throw them back into position, and that will just strain your shoulder, give you an injury, or it will just like mess up your set because you won't have as much energy. And obviously you don't want that. So instead, you want to use your knees and your momentum as like a boost to get them up into the position. So watch. Thrust them up. And see, where I've thrust them up to is where my hands are going to be anyway, right? And at that point, it's good if you've got a spotter, because they can just lift your arms up. But if you don't, you just have to do this. And of course, you need to use a bit of energy there. But this knee thrusting thing is very helpful. So literally all the way up. You can do it one at a time if you want. For this exercise, I like doing both at the same time. And then thrust up to the top. You want to, this is the starting position. So that bit there was not a rep, okay? This is the starting position. So when you go down, you want your arms to go in a 45-degree angle. You see, most people go out like this, right? They go like it's a shoulder press. They go out like this, right? We don't want that. We want them to be slightly tucked in like this, like 45 degrees, right? That's a massive mistake that I see people making. Also, you want to go all the way down. So you can see, I tend to go to about here. So it's just below the 90-degree angle, because some people they only go to about there, and then they stop and then they go up. That's a half rep. That's not a full range of motion. All the way down, but then I seem to go too far here. This was a clip taken a while ago, but so you don't want to go too far down, you don't want to go too far up. You want to just touch your chest, essentially, depending on the size of the dumbbell. And when you go down, you want to do it very, very slowly, slower than I'm doing here. This is an old clip. And then once you touch your chest, you want to hold it for half a second and then squeeze back up. And imagine pressing your biceps into each other, like squeezing your biceps into each other. Just like that, and you get to the top. You want to have an arch in your back, but you want your butt to still be on the seat. You don't want to be just like lifting and raising into Mars or anything like that. You want to be still grounded on the seat. But that arch in your back is actually very essential. It's actually good for you. And with every exercise on this list, you train to absolute failure, to the point where you cannot move it anymore, and that is when you fail. So as you can see, I'm trying to get it up, and I physically can't. And at that point, we do the reverse of how we got it up. We bring our legs up. Literally, you just thrust your legs up like this, and for some reason, I don't know why, just gravity brings you up. You don't even need to do like some sort of sitting up motion or anything like that. As soon as you bring your knees up, your body will just go forward, just like that. I don't know why, but it's completely fine. But don't be the guy who just like drops the dumbbells on the floor, you know, like smashes on your phone and makes a loud bang and hits your foot or something. Just bring your knees up nice and calm, and it's just a much safer way to descent. Perfect. Next one for the upper chest is this exercise. So you grab 2 sides of the cable. This is annoying in my gym because we've only got 1 cable machine, so if someone's using both sides, you're like, oh, for God's sake. But depending on how many cables you have, then of course well, I just recommend this exercise. So, first of all, you don't want the cable to be completely at the bottom. I think this is on about 8, I think, something like that. So just about where the bottom of your arms are. Okay, and then, let me just say before we start this exercise, this isn't as good as this. This is much better because this involves a lot of the front delt of your shoulder. So this part of your shoulder here. Because when you lift up like this, you're engaging a part of the front shoulder. It does do the upper chest, but there's a lot of emphasis on the shoulder as well. So preferably do this exercise, but if you can't, then do this. So when you go back, obviously go very slow on the way back. You want to have a little bit of bend in your arms. I find that having a bit of a bent arm emphasizes my chest more, whereas if my arm is completely straight, I feel like my front delt is engaged a bit more. So you want to go all the way back. You want your arm to go to about here. You don't want to go any further than that, because if you're going at this point, then it's just it'll just stretch your chest in a bad way. So you want to go sort of to about there, and then up just like that. Up until your two handles touch, just like that. Slow it back down, breathe on the way down, and then exhale on the way up. Simple. Okay, middle chest. This is one of the best parts. So for this, again, I prefer this to, in fact, no, these are both good exercises. They're essentially the same, except this one is lying down. So we get the two dumbbells just as before, and once my mate moves out of the way, then this one's a bit awkward because of the bench height, but you want a flat bench and you want to move your knees up. I tend to put my dumbbells at the bottom of my thighs rather than on the end of my knees for this one. And you go straight down, and obviously it gets straight into position. You push it up, and then you're ready to go. By the way, this was taken like about a month or two ago. I'm on the 24s. I'm now almost on the 30s, just as progressive overload goes. So this stuff works. It's crazy. But I would say stop here. Don't go any further than that. I think, see, I go a little bit further. I wouldn't go that far. I'd go, in fact, let me do that again. I'll go to about there. Okay, so you see how my arm is pretty much 90 degrees to my body? That's where you want to go. Any further than that, you'll hurt your shoulder a little bit. Any less than that's a half rep. Same as before, essentially. And then again, squeezing your biceps together, and that'll just emphasize the chest. Nice and slow. See the tempo of this. This is the control you want to have. I'm lifting heavy here for that point, but I'm still not, ego lifting and thrusting my body and kipping and everything. This is the control you need whilst lifting heavy. I only do 4 to 7 reps, but my strength is going up and I've got the control like this. And of course, go to failure, and then at the end, see, I'm really struggling on this rep. And then at the end, you can bring your knees up. It's a bit more difficult on this one because of the height of the bench. When I was using the 28s before, I did have to drop them. I didn't mean to, but I tried to bring my knees up, but I couldn't catch them, so I physically had to drop them. So that can happen, so always just move your stuff out of the way because you don't want to crack screen on your phone. But see, it works a little bit. It depends on the heaviness of the weight. So next one is that I forgot to mention what this was called. This was a low to high. So on these cable things, I'm going to show you 3 variations. Wherever they end up is what part of the chest they target. So this is low to high, and it ends up high, meaning it targets the upper chest. This one is just normal cable flies, so this is emphasizing the middle chest because it ends up in the middle, right? Nice and simple. So I love using a bench for this because I get a really nice contraction on my chest, but it depends if you can use a bench or not. I would always say use a bench. But then you want to align the cables in line with your arm. So if you literally sit down in the seat, lean back, and that is exactly where you need to put the cables. And then it's a bit awkward trying to get them over. See if I actually have the video for this. Yeah. It's a little bit awkward when you get over. Right, so see, you have to sort of do like a little bit of an awkward maneuver. It's a bit annoying, but once you're in that seat, then I would press them out. So rather than fly, you press just like that to get into position, and now you fly. Okay, so I would bend my arms a little bit less than this, so my arm would sort of be about this angle, right? Because mine are a bit too 90 degrees, and that's not as good. But I wouldn't go completely flat like this, right? Because it just doesn't feel as good. So slight bend in the arms, and obviously slower than this. I'm just going very fast because, it's an old clip. And it's the same as all the other exercises. Nice. And then once you've finished, Then also you can do a drop set on this, and it's very nice. But so you can really get a good contraction, really good. And if you look at your chest, I don't know why, but I look at my chest as I contract my chest, and I can feel it way better. It's like mind muscle connection. It's beautiful. Just like that all the way. Can you fail at some point, please? There you go. Look at the pain. Nice. And then you just like literally just reach back and let them go. Let them go one at a time. Otherwise, it'll just like make a loud bang, and it's just not very nice. Nice and simple. So finally, lower chest. Now lower chest, people say is one of the most important for like the defined look. Like if you see, that's the under part of the chest there. Very important, creating that shadow. And I mean, all parts of the chest are important, but the upper chest is also quite important, because some people say that if you don't have a upper chest, it looks like really saggy, like a boob, right? You don't want that as a guy. So they're all important, but lower chest is one of the main ones. And for this, I have two different exercises, as always. I have this cable variation, which is a little bit different to the other ones. And I also have some dips. Now, I use like a ton of weight on this. In fact, let me just do this. Nice, because don't want to get all the other people in the shot if they don't want to be. So, we'll start off with this one. So, high to low. I love high to low. I think I was on about 12 kg on this or something as of recording that video, and I'm now on like 17.5 or something. So progress has been absolutely phenomenal recently. So I just it just has been great, and I'm loving it, because I struggled for a while and now I'm making progress, and it's fantastic. Also, quickly, just before we continue, if you actually want to make progress like I am right now, which is insane progress, even I'm shocked at how much progress I'm making, I have a full program linked in the description that will help you get from little skinny flat bench kid to this guy, right? Like the superhero physique. Very easy, very efficient. First link in the description. So for this, I have a little step here. I don't know if you can see it. See that little step there? And I put my foot on it, as you can see, and I jump into it. Actually, no, I wasn't lifting heavy enough there, but now, because the weight is just like way too heavy, I have to literally jump up like, you know, and then push the weight down into position, because if you do like this and pull it like what I'm doing here, I find it strains my shoulder. So I physically have to jump into it. Right, so you want to get it. I actually, when I recorded this, I forgot what I was doing, and I was doing an old variation, so I had to get back into position. See, I moved backwards. So see where my foot is there? It's sort of in line with the cable machine, and you want to be pretty much like just in a lunge position in front of the cable machine. So you don't want to be miles away, you don't want to be too far back, you want to be in this nice position. And then when you go up, it's almost like a dip, because it's, you know, it's using the exact same sort of motion, right? So when you go up, you want to go up like this, right? So it's sort of like this kind of angle, and then press down like that, right? So rather than flying outwards like this, you want to be pressing down, like you're the Hulk, right? Like you go like that kind of thing. It's basically the same idea. And when you press down, then you feel a monumental contraction in your chest. It's very beautiful. And if you get it just right, it takes a while to learn the skill. Obviously, all exercises are quite difficult to learn, this one especially. But when you do, you feel it so good in your chest. Literally, right at the end of the movement, I just have to go, whoa, you know, because it hurts so bad. And that you can really, really push on this one. See, look, that was like a 5-second rep. And of course, go very slow all the time, very controlled and everything. Like you can really push it. And then once you're done, it's literally just so painful. And I would recommend that exercise. I would do both these exercises if I were you, because they're both just really good. But dips is when you start adding weight like I am. I do 20 kg on top of my body weight, so I add 20 kg. Right here was 17.5 kg, just so you can see this is about a month or so ago, and I've gone up again. Fantastic. But that is basically it. That's the whole dip. So you start off with your body weight, or if you've got like an assisted machine, if you can't do a body weight dip, then get on the assisted machine until you can do a body weight dip, because they are beautiful. So what you want to do at the top of the movement, you actually, see if I do it in this video, I can't remember. You want to, when you step off like this, don't just go straight down and straight up again like this. You actually want to almost curl inwards, like hunch over like this. see, I sort of like hunch over, I bring my knees into my abs, like I bring my knees upwards, so it's almost like I'm in a crunching position, and I roll my shoulders. It's hard to explain, but literally, say I'm standing. Let me get one time zoom for this bad boy. Say I am standing like this. This is the bent. This is the dip position. Yeah, I want to curl over like this, like I'm literally crunching my abs. Right, so I'm tensing my abs and I'm bringing my knees upwards a little bit, sort of crunching into myself and bringing my neck forward. And at that point, you emphasize the chest a lot more, because when you go straight up and straight down, people say that it hurts the shoulder, and it hurt my shoulder. But as soon as I did this, it works so much better. And then you want to go down. You don't want to go too far down, which I see a lot of people do, because that'll strain your shoulder and it really hurts. So you want to go 90 degrees, maybe a little bit further than I was here. And then at the top, you don't want to lock out. Don't lock out your arms like this. You want to have them at this kind of angle, right? In fact, if I do that, do you want them at that kind of angle, not that, because it'll put all the pressure on your joints, and it's not very nice for your joints. And that is essentially the dip. So you want to go down, nice and controlled, and then push up, really squeezing the lower chest. Bish bash bosh, you're done. And just before we are done, if you want to make your journey way easier, way more efficient, way faster, then of course, as I said before, I have a full step-by-step muscle building guide to get you to that place. First link in the description. You get a one-on-one strategy session with me where I literally give you a personalized plan. So you say, like, what are your goals? You want to get to this superhero physique or whatever like that. Then I can say, okay, this is your goals. This is how you can achieve it. This is how you can get to it. And then we have custom workouts, like loads of different custom workouts which are designed for you. Obviously, we go over that in the strategy session, so you literally don't have to think, should I do this exercise, this exercise? We can go over all these exercises that I talked about in this video and pick the one that's right for you to get that chiseled chest. And we have a private community, so people in your class, for example, might not understand what you're doing. They say, oh, gym's cringe, gym's gay, or something like that. But here we have a community of people who actually agree with what you're doing. They say, oh, mate, that's sick. You know, you just got a new bench. People, wow, awesome. You know, send me the video. You know, those type of people, like really supportive. And I like to call that the squad, because it's a funny gaming term, isn't it? So you gain access to all that and loads more. First link in the description. I'll see you over there. Good night.